I will start. My name is Cassie Gerhardt, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Diversity here at the University of North Dakota.
And welcome everyone. My name is Christy Okerlund, and I serve as Director of Student Involvement and Parent Programs.
We so appreciate you taking some time to join us today. Christy and I have some planned slides for you. Our focus today really is on your experiences as new parents to the University of North Dakota, perhaps with a first-time college student. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things to be mindful of as you help your student prepare for this upcoming transition. We know you also have some questions related to COVID and what the fall semester will look like. We will get to those. But again, primarily the focus will be about for parents of new students. There is a Q&A feature on your screen, so please feel free to post questions. We will not end this webinar before we have a chance to answer all of your questions. So please feel free to post those questions and we will make sure to get to them. But as we start today, picture on the screen is, well, maybe a little bit cloudier today, but this is about what campus looks like. We have enjoyed a beautiful summer and campus really is looking quite great. We want to share truth in advertising. We know the campus will soon look like this. And while we are hoping that this white stuff will hold off until November, we just never know. But really, even in the middle of winter, campus can be quite beautiful. But again, if the white stuff could stay away a little while longer than usual, we certainly would appreciate it this year.
Today, our overview, just briefly, we're going to talk through the parent transition. We know that you're all at different places. So some of you, this might be your first student you're sending to college. Others might be your first UND experience, but have students in other places. So we'll talk just briefly about that transition support, both for you as family members, as well as the support that you will offer to your student. We also will share a variety of resources that we have on campus. It'll be a small sampling, but some that are very important. And then Cassie mentioned what will fall look like COVID-19. And most importantly, you are here to be partners and we are in this together. This is a journey that your student is taking on, but you are a very big part of that. This is a fun image that Cassie found, but thinking back, I have two children. They are almost 8, going to be a second grader, and then an almost 4-year-old who's in preschool daycare. But thinking out that first day of school, back your student is going to kindergarten, students is a little bit hesitant. Now, has that shifted at all in your household? And maybe you're a little bit hesitant, but your student is excited. And some of that might be that roller coaster of emotions. But one thing that I like to look at is this tandem bicycle model of college parenting. So thinking back, stage 1, this is where my kids are at right now, right? Think of yourself driving that bicycle. On the back is your student, your child. Their feet can't touch the pedals. They're along for the ride, listening to your advice and guidance, trying different activities. We get into stage 2, and now your student can contribute to the journey. Notice they've gotten a little bit taller. Their feet can touch the pedals, and they are able to help guide what their life looks like. As they come here to the University of North Dakota, they are moving into stage 3. You now are switching seats. So think about now your student is driving that bike, but look at you. You are right there behind them to guide them and support them every step of the way. We know data and research tells us that you will continue to be the #1 influencer in your students' lives. So still very, very critical. And thinking about that roller coaster, you see that first bullet there as we think about that parent transition. And you might be feeling all of these emotions all at once, right? You can't wait to get your student out of your house, ready for their next stage in life. But it also is a little bit overwhelming. And maybe even a little bit sad as you think about how quickly the last 18 years have gone. Routines will change. Some of your students might still be living at home. Others might be moving across the country. But regardless of that piece, your routine each day will definitely be different. Responsibilities will change. You may have spent time at sporting events or theater performances and maybe won't be able to do that as frequently now. And so opportunities for you as family members also to try new and different things. And then this last one I think is exciting as you think about what does your adult relationship with your child look like? And your identity will continue to evolve over the next few years. So that is exciting to think about as well. Becoming an advocate is so important as you think about your student's journey. You see that top one, supporting your student on their path to success. It's going to look different, right? Each student's path is very different. Some of your students will come in as engineering. They will graduate with their engineering degree. Some might come in as pre-nursing and end up in aviation. You never know. But knowing that you're there to help and guide your student will be most important. Challenging your student to get noticed. Our goal, and we'll talk about this at the end, but is that your students will get an amazing education and that they will graduate at the end of their UND journey. We want you to help them start building a list of people who can talk about their skill set, how amazing they are, whether it's faculty members, staff members. They likely will look for an internship, a summer job. Maybe they will apply to graduate school. Whatever they dream to do, they will need people who can share letters of recommendation, serve as a reference, really encourage your student, step outside of their comfort zone, meet with a faculty member during office hours, ask questions, really just put themselves out there and get to know as many people as they can. I mean, especially now, Cassie will talk a little bit about COVID, but I think it's even more important, right? Life will look different this fall, but we want students to make some of those connections. Communicate your expectations about all aspects of life. How often do you hope to hear from your student? What are those communication expectations? Financial expectations. Will your student have a job when they're here? What does their monthly budget look like? All of those pieces. And of course, making good decisions and making sure to communicate with you as they do have concerns or things happen, right? Things will come up throughout their time. Listening to your students, so important. Some days your student might just need to call you and vent. Your student hangs up the phone, they feel great, they got everything off of their chest, and they are ready to conquer whatever comes at them next. You, on the other hand, after taking that all in, might need to process it a little bit. Don't ever hesitate to call. We are happy to help, even if it is just listening to you and talking through some of that. And then that bottom one, just as I talked about on that bicycle, continuing to be your student's cheerleader, helping them, guiding them every step of the way. As parent liaison, I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of family members every day, emails, phone calls, always so happy to help. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. The top one that you see there, feeling connected, a sense of belonging, is so important. As you and your student become part of the UND family, we want your student to deeply feel connected here on campus. Please do not hesitate to reach out. If your student is struggling to meet friends, to make those connections, to really feel like UND is their home away from home, happy to help. Mailing packages is so fun. I have not yet met a college student who says they do not like receiving a letter in the mail, a card, a small package, whatever it might be, ways for you to let your student know that you are thinking about them. So keep that in mind. Roommate, suitemate struggles, struggles with friend groups in general. At some point, your student might have some struggles or concerns. Happy to help navigate through, whether it's a connection to a resident assistant or RA is commonly they're referred to. Maybe it's a referral to the counseling center. Whatever that looks like, happy to talk through some scenarios. And I should say within these calls, and Cassie may share a story or two as well, but oftentimes families will call and they'll say, I don't want you to know my name. I don't want you to know my student's name. I just need to share with you what's going on with my student for you to help give some direction, give some guidance. Know that we are very happy to help in any way that we can. And as long as your student isn't in danger, we can definitely keep those conversations anonymous. Academic struggles. Your student might have trouble with a faculty member, with finding a tutor, with connecting in a classroom environment. Whatever that is, happy to connect. We have amazing colleagues that work in academic affairs that are very happy to help Cassie and I work closely with them every day. And then recommendations. This could be anything from my student broke a tooth and we need a dentist really quickly, or I need help navigating transportation options to and from our hometown. Maybe it's graduation is coming up and we are looking for a restaurant recommendation. Please know that you can always reach out and we are happy to help. Excellent. And now I've referenced this a little bit already, but the importance of getting connected. What happens inside the classroom is critical. Students are here to gain an amazing education, but we know that students that get engaged outside of the classroom, it contributes to their experiences, to building their resume, to helping them be a well-rounded, amazing employee as they leave their time here on campus. We have a variety of UND events throughout the academic year. So encourage your student, check their UND email account, sign up for text messages. Students will get information about these opportunities so that they can take advantage. We have a series of student events, different programs, opportunities for students. They're able to stop by our office in Wilkerson, pick up a voucher. Maybe it's a movie voucher. They can go to a movie. Maybe it's a voucher for a sandwich at a local sub shop in town. Maybe it's a tie-dyeing kit that they can come and pick up and make a t-shirt. So I encourage your student to watch out for those opportunities. We have about 240 student organizations on campus. During the first week of school, there will be a virtual student organization fair. Great opportunity for your student to meet a wide variety of students that are involved with any organization that you can imagine. Students have the opportunity to create their own organization if they would like. So please encourage them to get connected there. I mentioned campus employment briefly. Many opportunities, both for work study allotments as well as institutional employment. So all students are eligible to work on campus if they are interested. Our resident assistants, or RAs, as I had mentioned, plan a variety of programs and events within the residence halls. Your student is going to be living closely near and around a great group of students that they'll have the opportunity to really become close with. You often hear students say, I met my best friends in my residence hall my first year of school. Maybe someday your student will get married, find a partner, and maybe some of those people they met their first semester here on campus. We often hear those stories. My freshman suite mate was in my wedding, those types of stories. So fun opportunities to make connections there. Intramurals are led by our colleagues over in the Wellness Center. A variety of sports are offered as part of intramurals. Another great way for your student to relieve some stress, meet other students that they maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet otherwise. And I will say that the Wellness Center, in addition to offering intramurals, they have a wide variety of opportunities, from cooking classes to the cardio deck, the weight deck. Great opportunities there for students to just relieve some stress and have fun. And then the last one you see, students, we know your students have been involved in high school. They might want to continue involvement in our community. Happy to help make those connections. If there's something that your student wants to get connected to, chances are we have an opportunity here in Grand Forks. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. So many opportunities. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Cassie. I know she's got to unmute herself and get herself back up.
I appreciate
it so much, Cassie.
Thanks, Christy. Lots of great information. So going to shift gears a little bit and talk about some things sometimes that are even of more concern to parents. So Christy's got lots of great information on how to help support your student in getting engaged to the social aspect of campus, which is a key part of the transition. A little bit more information, parents, for you to be aware of as you prepare to join the Fighting Hawks family, maybe with your first student at UND. One of the questions that Christy and I often receive centers around campus safety and what campus is like. I would argue that UND is a very safe campus. I can certainly point you in the direction of resources if you want to get more information about specific things that have happened. Happy to share those resources. One thing I want you to be aware of is the Safe Campus app. So the Safe Campus app is an app that you can download onto your Android or Apple phone and wherever you get your apps from through the appropriate store. Lots of information available on the app, and we encourage family members and students to download the app. Parents, if you allow for the phone to send push notifications, if there is ever an alert or a campus emergency that the campus community is informed about through internal communication networks, the Safe Campus app will also push that notification to you. So, for example, last week near one of the construction areas on campus, there was a gas leak. An alert was sent out and pushed to tell people to stay away from a specific area. If there's a weather and emergency, those things are pushed out through the Safe Campus app. Something else to be aware of, the Safe Campus app, again, in addition to lots of information, you may have seen mobile blue lights on a tour of campus. So those blue lights that are in a stationary location on campus, that when you push a button, a police officer will be dispatched to that location. Your phone, through this app, can also function as a mobile blue light. So it's the orange box right in the middle. So if students are walking at late in the evening or at a time that they just aren't feeling very comfortable, they could open this app, have it open, ready to go. And if something were to, again, happen that they need help, they could push that button and it sends a notification to our operations center, and a police officer is dispatched to that location. And if the student is moving, it's through GPS navigation that they're able to continue to track the students. So that's just one of many features in the app. I encourage you to download it. I have it on my phone, and I find it a useful tool on a number of occasions. I have been affiliated with the University of North Dakota since I was a freshman in 1991, and of all the things that I am proud about here at the University of North Dakota, our care team is one of the things about which I am most proud. 365 days a year, 24/7, there are staff on call ready to respond to students in crisis. Our crises vary on campus. I will share with you that the majority of our crises typically involve alcohol, and typically the overconsumption of alcohol, and typically happen on Friday and Saturday nights. But certainly crises can be any number of things. But 365, 24/7, there are people on call ready to respond and support. So if a student is transported to the hospital and we are notified, either because that student lives in a residence hall or our university police department was part of the dispatch process, the care team would be notified, and then we in turn would notify parents about that situation or whoever the student has listed as their emergency contact. We don't get into the weeds of family business. We really just provide information, contact information for the local hospital, which is All True Hospital, and try to be a place of help in the communication between parents and students, especially if parents aren't local or can't get to town, whatever that might be. The crisis team can also work in reverse. Over the next 4 or 5 years, there might be things that happen at home that you need our assistance in networking with your student. In my time on the care team, I have been contacted by family members if a loved one passes away at home and the family just wants some help in notifying the student or in assisting with some arrangements. Whatever it might be, we are happy to help. I think this is one of those that parents often think, oh, we're not going to need that, things are going to be fine, and you just never know. But I want you to know it is a resource that is there to assist should you need the support. And again, when it comes to a crisis, that really is up to students and family members to determine. If we can be of assistance, again, this goes to what Christy mentioned, we want to partner with you and provide the support you need. I mentioned alcohol earlier in relation to the care team. Alcohol is one of those areas where, as we work with students who are new to the college experience, we sometimes find that students are testing the waters, they're trying things, but they need to be aware as they transition to college that some of the choices that they make, even just in a testing, try the waters, can have some unintended and lasting consequences. And while we find students may want to test the waters when it comes to alcohol, we don't find that our students are using alcohol with the intention of doing harm to themselves or others. They're using it for fun. They're experimenting. They're trying new things. They're using it as a stress reliever. They are pre-gaming, which is, again, I want to go to an athletic event. We're going to drink prior to that event because if we're under the age of 21, we're not able to purchase alcohol at that venue. And so they pre-game to perhaps get a buzz on to last them through the duration of a game. there's a number of things that happen, and this is just one of those areas, parents, where similar to the conversations that we've had with our kids since they were Christy's children's age to my high school sons, that conversation regarding alcohol now transitions to what does that mean in a college environment. You're not going to be there necessarily to know what your students are doing on any evening or weekend, but what are your expectations? What is their understanding of the potential ramifications, the unintended and lasting consequences of the decisions that they might make? We know our students might try things. We find that students, when they try things, sometimes we need to have some follow-up conversations with them. They are a violation of policies. There was either a arrest or a citation, a documentation in a residence hall. Our goal in all of this is that students, if and when they make mistakes, they will learn from them and move on. And we find that that's what the vast majority of our students do. We don't have a high number of repeat offenders. Most of them understand, okay, these are the choices that I need to make, because where we focus is helping them understand that they have some different paths to resolution, and they might be answering to multiple areas should they be involved in a situation. So I use a minor in consumption, minor in possession as an example. There could be a process in the court system if that citation was by a police officer. There might also be ramifications in the academic area. So depending again on the outcome of that conduct process, if a student was found in violation of a policy related to alcohol, depending on the academic program, they might have a probationary period in their academic program. Our students in aviation, if they are in flight courses during the duration of an alcohol probation, they may not be able to access aircraft or flight courses. That could have a significant implication on their progression in their course. Other programs, a DUI, might have an impact on licensure and the professional standards of that program. And so students need to understand that there's expectations, not just in the court of law that they might be familiar with, but there could be ramifications in their academic program. And then the Code of Student Life are the expectations that we have of all members of our campus community. We'll send students a link to the Code of Student Life. We expect them to adhere to it. We often find that students learn most about the Code of Student Life if we indicate perhaps they have violated an aspect of it, but it's important that they know there could be some different paths to outcome. Family members, there might be situations that happen where we contact you. It doesn't happen very often, but we want you to be aware of it. So if your student is under the age of 21 and has repetitive issues related to alcohol, and as the slide notes, this really is less than 1% of our student population each year, but sometimes we'll find students in that first couple of weeks of school, they might be documented over the course of a number of evenings in the residence hall. We have found it to be very helpful to bring in a family member or a parent to help get the student back on track, to help them maybe learn a little bit quicker from the mistakes they're making so that they can move on. If your student's involved with illegal or controlled substances, you might get a phone call from us, again, to try and help redirect those behaviors and to help understand ramifications if those behaviors don't change, which could include separation from the institution. And then if we ever think that your student has the potential to pose a risk to self or others, we might pick up the phone and give you a call. It goes back to one of the things that Christy said very early on. We know that you will continue to be the #1 influencer in the decisions that your students make. And so as we partner to help your student be successful, we'll bring you into some conversations if we think that that could be a beneficial part in resolving the situation. Family members and parents, what we want you to know is you can contact us whenever you think it would be helpful. And so just as Christy shared, you don't need to give your name. You don't need to share your student's name. We won't reverse dial or look up your phone number. We are happy to have hypothetical conversations. Whatever we can do to assist you in a situation, we're happy to do so. If you want us to follow up with your student, we're going to probably need their name at some point. And so sometimes that's a tough one for family members. They want us to follow up, but if they don't want to share names, that can become the challenge. So please let us know if there's anything we can ever do. We are providing a little bit of information to you today, and we often get the question from parents, okay, this is great for me, but when will my students get this information? We've got a lot more time to help educate your students in the days and weeks, months to come. So a few things to be aware of, and you might ask your student about this. Your student should have recently, in the last about week to 10 days, received an email from Safe Colleges, which includes links to some required online education that we expect students to complete. There's a number of different modules. We think this education is so important that until students complete the training, a hold is put on their account and they're not able to register for the spring 21 semester. So your students are coming in this fall, they're set to go. We're going to put a hold on their account, which will preclude them from being able to register for the spring semester until they complete the trainings we have specifically on the Code of Student Life so that they understand that this document exists, and the trainings we have on drugs and alcohol and sexual violence. And then a new one this year that actually all of our students, staff, and faculty are expected to complete is a training related to COVID-19 and the university's expectations and some mitigation efforts that have been put in place. So you might ask your student if they've gotten the email, and then encourage them to get these done before they even arrive on campus. One, so they have the information and can be aware of resources and services from day one. And two, so they don't forget about it and then get reminded when it comes time for them to register for the spring semester. And now they've got to go back and try to get these completed while after their registration window has opened. We will also communicate and educate your students through conversations with resident assistants and the programming that goes on in our residence halls. We have members of our University of North Dakota Police Department that serve as adopt-a-cops and pair up with different organizations or residence halls, and they will provide some educational sessions. And then your students are going to get lots of emails. And so I think we do a really good job of communicating the information that students need. I think students can do sometimes too good of a job of cleaning out their inbox and deleting some of those emails. So they just need to be mindful of that information that's coming to them now. It's their responsibility to review it. It's their responsibility to act on the information that applies to them. Those same messages are not going to be sent to parents so that parents can remind them or so that parents can take care of the business that needs to be completed. It now will be the student's responsibility. And so helping your students to understand that is an important part of the transition process to the college experience. We have a number of resources available on campus and not enough time this afternoon to explain them all. So as Christy and I were thinking about what are some of the top ones that our family members often utilize and or that we refer people to, these are some of them that we have come up with. If you happen to be watching this and have a phone handy or can screenshot it, these might be a couple of slides, the next two that you might want to take a picture of for future reference. One of them, the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities, and because we need acronyms for everything, often referred to as OSRR. The Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities is one of those offices that students can utilize when they just don't know exactly who to ask the question of. OSRR primary focus is to serve all students and to be an advocate for students. Now they also take care of the conduct processes for the campus, and so sometimes students cannot want to utilize OSRR, but the primary work they do is really advocacy for students, support for students, students who might be ill or maybe have to travel home for a funeral or another emergency. The Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities can help with notifications to faculty members to provide an absence notification. By no means is it an excused absence. Students need to work with their faculty members on those arrangements, but sometimes getting that email from OSRR helps legitimize the student situation in the eyes of the faculty. And so we encourage students to utilize Student Rights and Responsibilities as a resource. Within OSRR, and that's where you'll see the same phone number, is Disability Services for Students. So for qualified students who could benefit and have been approved to benefit from an accommodation to assist in the classroom, whether that is with note-taking, taking tests in a different location, extended time for tests, our colleagues with Disability Services for Students can be tremendous resources, and I would encourage you to contact them and have your student work with them on any of those qualified accommodations. The next two I kind of talk about interchangeably: Student Health Services and the University Counseling Center. Tremendous resources on our campus. So Student Health Services is a fully accredited clinic. It's not just the campus nurse. We have doctors on staff. Students can utilize all the services that Student Health offers. They will work with insurance companies and all of those things, but a tremendous resource that students should be aware of. Same thing, University Counseling Center, an amazing staff of mental health professionals, licensed counselors available to assist students. We find that in the private sector, it could take students anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks at times to get in with a mental health professional. With our services on campus, we have set this as a priority. we can get students in an emergency case same day or within just a couple of days, especially if they're looking to meet with a specific counselor. So tremendous resources. When it comes to both student health and the counseling center, these are two services where you might consider if you have any continuity of care needs. So perhaps you have a student who needs regular allergy shots or another medical procedure. And again, if you're looking to how that gets transitioned to have the continuity of care, student health services would be a great resource. Same thing from a counseling lens. If you have students who are currently in a relationship with a mental health professional, transitioning that support here to UCC could be very, very beneficial. And so their emails, or excuse me, websites and phone numbers are provided if you have additional questions or need to make some follow-up arrangements with them. And then for other offices, one-stop student services, often just referred to really as one-stop, helps with all things in the area of educational finances. So you may have joined us from some of the previous Zoom sessions that we've had highlighting the resources of one-stop. Tremendous resource. Those recordings are available, and Christy will share that with you in just a minute. But if you have any questions in the area of your students' finances and account, I encourage you to contact One Stop. I will let you know as the start of the semester approaches. They're getting a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls, and so I know they're a little behind with some of their follow-up, but they are on it and will get back to you just as soon as they can. Christy's talk, she often gets questions related to academic advising, a tremendous resource there if students who are questioning their major, not sure of how their classes go in a consecutive order, all of those things in the area of academics. I would encourage your student to reach out to the academic advising area. Christy leads our student involvement areas, so opportunities for engagement with student organizations and student government and UND programming events and student government, any number of things. You can find out more information on the involvement website, and Christy and her colleagues are always happy to help. Then another campus service, which is really a tremendous asset, is the University of North Dakota Police Department, often referred to just as UPD. So UPD is our law enforcement agency on campus. So we don't just have security guards who work after hours. We have an accredited police force who serves and protects the University of North Dakota campus community 24/7, 365, a tremendous resource. They focus on community policing, and so many of our students will get to know our officers on a first name basis, or in turn, our officers will get to know our students on a first name basis. And so a tremendous resource focused on campus safety, but they really are so much more to our campus community. I want to talk just a little bit about COVID-19, and I know many of you probably have some questions. And so actually to best address these, I'm going to get out of the PowerPoint and show you some resources on the website. And so I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and I'm going to pull up our website. And then this is where Christy just double checks to make sure that my screen shares are actually working the way we want them to. So you now should be seeing the University of North Dakota website. So you can get there. Thanks, yep. Christy. At und.edu. So lots of information. Before I talk COVID specific, I just want to show you really how easy it is to search for things. So if you want more information on the police, I just type police into the search. They come up as the first link. There's one of our officers, two of our officers. Bear is also one of our 2 police dogs that we have on campus, but lots of information, including a full staff directory. Our police department's led by Dr. Chief Eric Plummer, a wonderful resource for our students, a great person to contact. Students can submit crime alerts through an anonymous process, so lots of information, and I won't go into UPD, but just showing you how to search things on the campus in case the website can seem daunting. But what I really wanted to show you was information related to COVID. So on any of our pages, there you'll see our Fighting Hawk in his mask. These are some new videos that just released yesterday. So the Hawk has his own mask as he navigates campus this fall. But if you click on the COVID up ahead, it will take you to our COVID-19 blog. Family members, I would encourage you, yet today maybe, to get subscribed for email updates that are posted to the blog. So any updates related to the university's response to COVID-19 and the coronavirus, we post on the blog, and then when updates are made, an email notification is sent to those who've subscribed for the blog. So I would encourage you to submit your email there. I'm not going to show you all the information that is here. A couple of things that have been of interest to family members and to students. There's some information posted on learning. So again, last updated just a few days ago, or late last week, I guess, as I look at my calendar. some information in terms of class adjustments and how classes will be offered and technology resources, things like that. But the one I really wanted to show you is cases and reporting, because this is really some of the questions that we get. So every day about 8 or 8:30 a.m., or this morning I guess it was at 9 a.m., we update this with the number of active cases related to the university community. So as of this morning, we have 9 active COVID-19 cases associated with the University of North Dakota community. And we update, like I said, those numbers every day. It's also on this cases and reporting site that I will show you the link to the student reporting processes. So when we have testing events on campus, those are coordinated by the North Dakota Department of Health, and they have the results of that testing. We don't get the results, so we don't know if a student tests positive. We need the student to notify us that they have tested positive or been identified as a close contact, and this is where they would go to do that. So they would go to the student reporting procedures. It'll explain a number of things, and they would click on the online reporting form. And so they would then enter their information here and indicate again what they know. Have you tested positive? No, they would be asked, again, I think it's some other questions that follow up there to clarify close contact. When they submit this report, they will get an email then with the phone number that they call so that we can provide them some additional resources should they need them. So for example, if a student tests positive for COVID-19 and needs to isolate, we have some hotel spaces that are on standby that we can move students into. We're covering the cost of those hotel rooms. We're making arrangements for food to be delivered to the door because we know the importance of isolating students. The same thing if a student is in a living situation where they cannot appropriately quarantine. So quarantining is if you're not positive but might be a close contact until you get tested. We can also move students into quarantine and provide similar support, but it's their notification to us through this form that helps start that process. Similar to the care team, available 24/7. Those of us responding to these reports from students are available 24/7, and we'll do our best to follow up. So a great resource for parents to be aware of in case you learn from your student. We're getting this information out to students as well, but always find it helpful when family members are also aware. The other thing I will point to on here, if you've got questions about testing dates and wait times, right on the website, you can click on the link. We have our next testing event is tomorrow. Right now that event is closed. Tomorrow throughout that event, this site will be updated to let people know the wait time. We've got another one on Friday. And then some of them, as you prepare to come to campus, you might want to be familiar with is we've got 4 testing events next week, the 19th, 20th, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nothing on Saturday, and then again on Sunday. And it's my understanding, I think our goal is to test about 1,200 individuals each of those days and really focused on our students. So those testing events are taking place at the High Performance Center, which is located on the east end of campus near the Memorial Stadium, our former football stadium. So pretty easy to find, a pretty easy process. We are highly, highly encouraging students to get a COVID test before they come to campus. And you'll see some information that was shared by the North Dakota University system. We know how important it is for students to get testing. We're not mandating that testing, and so we're not looking for students to share proof of a negative test. That is, so long as they're a domestic student. So as long as they're from the 50 states, that isn't required. For our international students and students from Canada, there's some different directives in place, and those students are being specifically communicated with about the expectations. So we really, really are encouraging testing. We know how important it is to know what's happening in our campus community, but students do not need to submit proof of a negative test. When they come to campus, we just really want them to see testing as a part of our campus restart program, and really we think a key piece in campus staying open this fall. So again, best thing is to do with all of COVID is to sign up to get the updates. So then I will just go back and now, oops, I need to stop sharing that one and then reshare this one. So now you should be back to my slide deck. So I think I shared all of those things. The next one really related to fall planning. We have a couple of town halls, one this evening and one next Tuesday. The content and plan for these is very similar unless there are perhaps changing circumstances, the community between tonight and tomorrow, but just an opportunity specifically to talk about the fall 2020 restart and specifically what it means in relation to COVID-19. These student and parent town halls, we have invited every student and parents. So returning students, not just new students. We've got Zoom rooms for 5,000 those nights. So we've got plenty of capacity. And again, the plan for both of those is to be very similar in content. The only thing that would change is if perhaps there are changing community circumstances. So lots of questions that we know parents have, and Christy and I are happy to answer anything that you might have while we're still together here today to the degree that we can. But I know President Armacost is joining us for both of those tonight and next Tuesday. Christy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cassie. So as you found the link to this recording, we have a variety of Zoom info sessions that we had the opportunity to host over the last month or so. And you can find all of those opportunities at the link that you see here, und.edu/orientation/Zoom info sessions. Some of the things Cassie and I referenced, from intramural sports to student organizations, one-stop student services, housing. So please check those out. Your student and you are welcome to watch those. They'll be available for a while yet. Great information there. Welcome weekend is coming up so quickly. I just can't believe it. Next weekend, August 22nd and 23rd, we have Residence Hall move-in. There'll be some activities throughout the weekend and the first week of school. At this website, und.edu/welcome weekend, is where you and your student will be able to find the most up-to-date information. The schedule for welcome weekend will be up online either today or tomorrow. It's being updated as we meet with you today, so that is really exciting. Once that schedule is out there and all ready to be shared, we will send an email out as well to students and any family email addresses that we have. So please watch for that. And that leads me right into getting those monthly emails. So I have the privilege of putting together each month a newsletter that gets emailed out to anyone on our parent listserv. These email newsletters have everything from what's happening on campus, important updates, deadlines, reminders, things your student might be experiencing, how you can best work with your student. We try to feature a different office each month, different programs, opportunities coming up for students. So please feel free. When you get to und.edu/families, you'll see a variety of resources, and you'll scroll down a bit, and over on the left side, you'll see that subscription link. So please feel free to sign up to get that information. And if you're already subscribed, that's fine. Sometimes it's better to just triple check and make sure that you're in there. You won't get 3 emails if you're in there more than once. It just sends one time. And then we also have family texting. So you're welcome to text UND family to 41411. You will not be bombarded with text messages every day, but periodically updates and reminders will be sent via text messages. So you're welcome to sign up for those. And if you do decide to sign up, you can unsubscribe at any time to both opportunities as well. Anytime you need to change an email address, you can just send me an email. So lots of ways we try to help keep you connected to information.
So Christy and I just have a couple of slides left, so please feel free if you've got any questions that you'd like us to answer. We're happy to answer those. What we want you to know is we want you to be your partner. We want to be your partners. We know how much your student means to you, and we want you to know that your student also matters to us. We don't approach your student as a number or an enrollment figure here at the University of North Dakota. We sincerely care and are happy to assist in any way that we can. We want to be your partner over the next 4 or 5 years, however long your student is enrolled here at the University of North Dakota. And really, Christy, this is always where we remind family members what our goal is.
Yes.
There we go.
Our goal is that we will be with you. Cassie and I will be at commencement with our Flutterfetti, which is that confetti streamers that you see celebrating their accomplishments and just thinking back, celebrating their time here on campus. And that picture in the bottom left, I always like to share, is one of my absolute favorites. It's a very, very exciting day, and I know it's one of Cassie's favorite events. 3 times a year we get to celebrate commencement. So
that's the end of Christy's and my presentation. And so this is another one of those slides that if you can snap a picture of it, you would have Christy's and my contact information. Included there is my personal cell phone number. So as the mom to teenage sons, I recognize that not all crises with my sons happen between normal business hours. Sometimes those happen on the weekends and the evenings. And so if you need something, by all means, feel free to drop me a text or leave me a message if I can't answer when you call, or if I'm screening calls, whatever the case may be, I will get back to you just as soon as I can. But please know it's a very sincere offer for you to reach out to Christy or I if there's anything that we can do to help you. And that offer does not just extend through your student's first year of at the University of North Dakota. That's an offer to help you however long your student is enrolled here. I know Christy often gets emails each May or June from parents whose students have graduated, and it's them letting Christy know that she can delete them from the parents listserv, that they no longer are going to need that information because their student has graduated. And so please know we are here to assist throughout the duration of your student's time at the University of North Dakota. As I said, that's our last slide. I haven't seen any questions submitted. I am happy. We are a really small group today. And so what I'm going to do from my controls is I'm going to give you all the opportunity to talk. So maybe if you just want to ask a question, you would need to unmute yourself on your end. But if you have a question, given we're such a small group, there is no need for you to type it in. Christy and I are happy to just take those. So now you all should have the ability to talk, but you are probably muted on your end. So you would just need to unmute your own mic and ask your question. Or I will let you know this is the end of our presentation. And so if you've got other things to get to, by all means, feel free to end this presentation for you. But Christy and I will just hang out. And if anybody has questions, by all means, feel free to ask. And if not, enjoy the rest of your summer. And we look forward to seeing you when you're next on campus.
Yes, thank you all so much for being with us today.